What's going on YouTube? This is John from the Unhinged Zombie Hunter Clan, bringing you a bit of a new update with Layer of Darkness, with the new exception of the new zombie deck, structure deck we just got. And yeah, this was one that was made by my friend Joe from Zephyr War Games. I will leave a link in the description down below to check their channel out, their Facebook page, and then let's crack right on into the deck. So, starting it off with the, 1 second. Alright, spells and try to separate it. Alright, starting us off with the zombie engine, we do run the 2 copies of, if it would help, Doom King Barracks, and his ability is, during either player's standby phase, if you have a field spell on the field, you can just basically get him out of your graveyard with no problem whatsoever, and that's during either player's standby phase. And if you have Zombie World on the field, every monster on the field is a zombie. Per chain, he can either negate one, banish one, or do the other. And yeah, he's one of the best. After that, I run 3 copies of the newest tuna monster that the zombie deck profile, which is Glow Up Bloom, and yes, it is a level 1 zombie tuna, and its effect is when this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard and add him to your hand if you don't have zombie, but if you have Zombie World on the field, you can he will allow you to special summon him instead, and that's a pretty good idea for this deck. So yeah, and for the last of the zombies with the tunas, I do run the 1 Tatsu. This is 1 level 3 tuna that helps go into your synchro plays, so it's a good level 3 card to help with those plays, so yeah. So that's basically the main monster zombie lineup for the Layer of Darkness, as always. The 2 Darkest Diablos. The 3 Arms as normal. Just sorting out the phone a minute, yeah. The 3 Arms as normal. And of course, the 3 Liliths, Lady of Lament. And then, since this card was introduced to us from Soul Fusion, my friend Joe integrated it, and that is triple Dino Wrestler Pankatops. And he will seriously screw your opponents over. He can tribute himself and pop a monster on your opponent's field, no questions asked. So yeah, that is it for the monsters. Moving on to the spell and trap cards, so let me just separate them. Right, the spell lineup. The first part is double terraforming. Now this helps get your field spells into your hand, which helps with Layer of Darkness, because with RM, that's like, you've got so many other ways to search out your field spells. So 2 terraformings for that, and 3 RMs for Layer of Darkness, which I run at 3. I also run triple, since we got it in the reprint from the structure deck, triple Zombie World, because why not? Zombie World helps with Baroque and your other zombie cards, including the level 7 Synchro, which we will get straight into soon. For the draw engine, I do run triple Allure of Darkness. Always play Allure at 3, because every card in this deck is a dark type, except for with the exception of Pankatops. And the other part of the draw engine is 2 copies of Trade-In. You can basically just get Barracks into your graveyard, and then if you've got a field spell, start the plays. Literally start the plays. And I think, hang on, yep, that's it for the draw engine. For the revival part, the 1 Monster Reborn, staple in this deck, still a staple. For dumping, the 1 Foolish Burial, and also the 1 copy of 1 for 1 to get your level 1 Glow Up Bloom on the field. And then, because this was a new spell card that was introduced to us through the new zombie deck, structure deck, I thought because my friend Joe suggested this, one copy of Zombie Necro. Sorry about the glare. Yeah, one copy of Zombie Necro. This card is like brain control, except in a way. If you control a level 5 or higher zombie monster on the field, you can take control of one of your opponent's monsters. Also, during your end phase and your opponent's next phase, you can shuffle one card back in from your graveyard into your deck, and you can reset this card face down. So in a way, it's a card that recycles itself and restarts the plays. So yeah, that's the only that's the other zombie spell that we need. Okay, that is it for the spell lineup. Sorry about that. For the trap lineup, it is pretty straightforward. One breakthrough skill, skull, sorry, or skill, I don't know. 2 copies of compulsory evacuation device. And then for the viruses, just 2 copies of full force virus and the 1 eradicator virus. Now, we all know what eradicator does. We all know that full force can help with Barox and Diablos. So, yeah, there is just no question about it. Okay, that is it for the main deck. Moving on to the extra deck. For the Synchro lineup, I run the newest zombie we have, which is Red Eye's Zombie Necro. Look at that lovely slick artwork. That is so good. And its effect is, if you have Zombie World on the field, all zombies on the field, all zombies on the field and graveyard, he gains 100 attack points for each zombie. So, yeah, it's a pretty good card to get beefed up. And I only run him at 1. After that, I run the 1 Stardust Dragon, because negate card effects that target my monsters or my field. Yep. The Red Dragon family of the 2 Scarlights and the 1 Red Dragon Archfiend. So yeah, you can't have Stardust without his counterpart, the Red Dragon Archfiend, or else it just wouldn't be a proper family. And then the next part of the synchros is the 1 copy of Bills of... Oh, hang on, if I do this a little bit there. The 1 Bills of the Diabolic Dragons. And the 1 upgraded version of himself, which is Biel's of the Diabolical Dragons. So that is the synchro lineup. For the Xyz lineup, it's pretty straightforward of 1 Galaxy Eye Cypher Dragon. 1 copy of 107 Tachyon. And 1, if I can get it out, number 38 Titanic Galaxy. Now, they're the only 3 Xyzs this deck will run, because they can help with your level 8, they're your rank 8 plays. Titanic, because he can negate spells and absorb them, and he can redirect attacks if they're targeting other monsters on your field, or link Karibo to him. Tachyon, because he can just basically negate and set the whole field over again. And Cypher Dragon, because he can just steal your opponent's monsters and add it to your own field and turn it into a Cypher. However, the downside is it can't attack. So, but that's not a problem. After that, that's the Xyz and the Synchro. For the Link lineup, now like I said, this deck does run a Link Karibo, because I've just got this from my friend Joe from Zephyr War Games. I do run the 1 Link Karibo. Best card in the deck, and it helps get Diablos out on the field quicker. And he can also reduce your opponent's monster's attack points to 0, so he can't attack. Also, if you tribute a level 1 like Glow Up Bloom off the field, you can basically bring him back to the field and then start the plays all over again. For the Link 2s, I do run the 1 copy of Wee Witch Apprentice. Now, since everything in this deck is dark, with the exception of the extra deck, of the Xyzs, not a problem, because of the fields where they will be darks, Wee Witch will buff their attack points up by 500. And it makes, and Stardust, sorry, forgot about Stardust. They are the exceptions as well, but they will be darks. But Wee Witch can buff up your attack, 500 attack and defense points for all dark monsters. All light monsters lose 400 attack points and 400 defense points. And if she's destroyed, you can return 1 monster from your extra deck, your graveyard, back to your hand, or shuffle her back into your extra deck and start the plays all over again. For the Link 3s, I do run the 1 Deco Talker, because he's there for the effect negations, because he really helps. And for the last of the Link engine, because I don't have many other Link 2s, The only link for this deck will run, which I just got from my friend Joe at Zephyr Wargames. The one, the only, the Topologic Bomber Dragon. Now this card will seriously screw your opponents over, because if it's co-linked to a monster on the field, you basically blow that your opponent's or your own field up, and then you can deal damage at the end. So yeah, and then obviously the whole list of tokens I have for this deck. But that is it for the deck. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you like this deck? Is it a good deck to mix with Lair of Darkness and the zombie deck? Let me know in the comments. Also, feel free to check the crew out at Zephyr Wargames on their Facebook page and their YouTube channel. There will be a link in the description down below. And I think that's all there is to say about this. So, don't forget, this channel will keep you up to date with updates for more Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profiles, more video game videos that will be uploaded soon. And just remember, folks, keep on having fun, keep on dueling, and remember, enter the brains. Goodbye.